All right, so go ahead and click the link that's posted with the assignment here. That will bring you to this page that you see in front of me. Basically what SketchUp is it's a 3D, three-dimensional modeling software, also known as CAD. CAD meaning Computer Aided Design, CAD. So what it allows me to do is draw a three-dimensional model of a project before I were to actually build it. So for example, if I'm a woodworker and I wanted to design a table like you see in front of me, I could use SketchUp and kind of plan out what the parts are going to look like, what the sizes are going to look like, what the drawers are going to look like, and get a really good representation of what the finished project will look like. The nice thing about it is it's free, it's pretty easy to learn, and also very capable. You can do different shed designs, you can do house layouts, floor plans, architecture, woodworking projects, 3D printing models. Really, the possibilities are limitless with this software. So we're going to get started here. If I go to Start Modeling, it's going to ask me to sign in. Go ahead and sign in with your Google account. Use your school email, Google account. All right, so that's going to bring you to kind of your home base here. What I'm going to do is just create a new file. That's going to bring up this little guy here. If I click on it with my mouse and hit delete on my keyboard, it'll get rid of him. First thing I want to do is just save it. So if I click save and then click SketchUp, I can create a name. So for example, let's just call this tutorial 1. Type that in there. Write that. I already have it saved, so it's going to overwrite the old file. But you'll see that file is now saved. Okay, so make sure you save your work so that, let me get rid of this, so that you have your work saved. Make sure you don't lose your work. All right, so on the left side here, you're going to see that there is all sorts of different tools that we're going to talk about. They're pretty easy to learn, but I do understand that there are a lot of them, so it might look a little overwhelming at first. But know that you will kind of get the hang of it as you work through here. The biggest thing I can recommend is to use a computer mouse. If you try to do all of this with just the touchpad on your key or your laptop, it's going to be a lot harder from my experience. It can be done, but really it makes your life a lot easier using a mouse. The other thing you should make sure is that you are using Google Chrome. Okay, if you try to use, I don't know, Edge or any other browser, it's not going to work very well. Chrome is the best that I've found for SketchUp. All right, so make sure you're using Chrome. So the first thing I'm going to do is just draw a basic shape here. So you'll see there's different tools. If I click this little arrow, it's going to bring up all sorts of different options, rectangles, rotated rectangles, circles, polygons, fonts. For now, I'm just going to make sure that the rectangle is selected. If it's not, you can click there. On my mouse, I'm just going to click once, drag my mouse, click again. Immediately after I click, you're going to see down here there's dimensions that I can enter. Okay, so if I want to actually draw this thing to size, right now if you look down there, you can see an 8 with an apostrophe. That means 8 feet. And then there's 6 1/8 inches. The double line or apostrophes are inches. So right now this is 8 foot 6 1/8 inch by 13 foot. I'm just going to make it 8 feet, so I'm going to do 8 with the apostrophe, comma, 12 feet. Okay, so you can see exactly what that looks like, and hit enter, and there you saw it automatically changed the size of that base. Okay, so I'm going to do that again. Click with my mouse once, drag it. Immediately after I let go, I'm going to do 8 feet, make sure you put the feet in, comma, 12 feet, hit enter, and there's going to change it. All right, if I want to move that around, I can click this arrow, select, triple click on my object so it turns all blue. There's a tool called the move tool. If I just click and grab that, I can move that wherever I want. All right, so it makes it pretty easy. The other thing I want to show you is if you're just doing inches, let's just say I want to do basic inches here. So let's show the other option. If I click and drag here again and want to do 4 inches, the default is already in inches. So if I just do 4 by 4 without any apostrophes, that'll automatically put that in inches. And you'll see how tiny that is because this is inches and this was feet. All right, so if I, on my mouse, if I scroll that red wheel, spin that wheel, and have my mouse over this item, it'll bring it in. If I press down on the red wheel, it will allow me to orbit. So I could zoom in by scrolling that wheel. I can press down the red wheel and get it to orbit. Or, here's the confusing one, if I hold down the Shift key plus the red wheel, it'll give me a hand to what's called pan. Okay, so there's basically 3 movements that you can do. Zooming in, clicking down to orbit, or holding down Shift and the red wheel to move it around like that. Those same options are right here, so if you don't have a computer mouse, you can do the same thing. Okay, if I click here, the orbit lets me do the same thing. Pan tool lets me slide up, down, left, right. Zoom lets me slide in and out. Notice how your mouse has to be over top of the item that you're zooming in on. If you zoom out here, it's going to take me way out into outer space. Okay, so my mouse needs to be on there in order to zoom in on that. Okay, so the mouse is a lot easier, like I said earlier, because I can do all of these navigations instead of having to come down here and click on the different orbit, pan, zoom, etc. Let's go back to our first drawing. I'm just going to delete this other one. If I click and drag a box and hit delete on my keyboard, that'll get rid of that. All right, so let's build just a basic house here. So this is going to be the push and pull tool. If I click in this window, you can see there's some other options as well that we'll learn about as we go. But for now, the push and pull. If I click and drag and bring it straight up, you can see down in the bottom of my screen, the dimensions are changing. I can enter the dimensions while it's still able to be moved, or I can click and let go of it. All right, so for now, I'm just going to do, let's say, 8 feet. So remember, 8 with an apostrophe, and just hit enter. So that's going to bring that up 8 feet. Enter, and there it is. The other thing I was showing you, if I do this, click it first, and then type in 8 feet, it'll still do the same thing. Okay, so it's up to you how you want to do that. Get in the habit of saving your work. All right, so let's go around to this side here. So I'm just pressing down the red wheel on my keyboard. Let's draw a roof on here. So if I go to the line tool, you will see if I hover over this line without clicking anything, it automatically shows where the midpoint is. So if I click here, drag it all the way across, again, I now have a line. If I go to my move tool down here and grab that line and bring it straight up, okay, you'll see it can do all sorts of funky stuff here. The nice thing with SketchUp is it automatically locks into the different axes. So right there you can see it locks in vertically on the blue axis. I'm just going to click there at that point, and the blue axis is your, in math class, your y-axis. Okay, so that brought that straight up. Okay, you also notice you have the x-axis here, and this would be the z-axis, is the green one. Okay, so kind of however you want to look at it there. But the nice thing is, as I draw lines, it'll automatically, notice the red line is parallel to the x-axis there, or it could be the green axis, or if I can do it here, it could also be the blue axis where it's going vertically. All right, so navigating, I think, is the hardest thing to kind of get the hang of, but once you do, it makes things a lot easier. All right, so next up, let's go ahead and draw a little chimney here. All right, so let's just show you something new here. If I go to the tape measure, okay, make sure your tape measure is selected, and I'm just going to draw what's called guidelines. If I click here and drag over, let's say, I don't know, 1 foot, 1 with an apostrophe. Notice how it has the apostrophe there. And then from here, I'm going to click and drag over, let's say, 2 feet. Notice if I don't put the right feet in, it's just going to be inches. Okay, that looks way too close. So I'm going to make sure I do the 2 feet. 2. apostrophe 2 feet. That gives me a guideline to be able to draw this chimney now. So if I just click here, drag it straight up, drag it straight over. Notice how that red line is showing me I'm parallel to the x-axis, and then come straight down. All right, there's my little chimney. I can make it three-dimensional by using my push and pull tool. Try that again. I'm just going to drag it over just so it looks like a chimney there. Yeah, you got the idea. All right, there's my nice little chimney. So now on the front of the house, we're going to put a little door on here. I'm going to save my work here. Let's put a little door. Again, let's use my guidelines first. So let's just come over. Let's come over to the midpoint. Then off of the midpoint, I'm going to click and drag. Let's just go 1 foot off of each side. This could be a little skinny door. 1 foot off of that side. That shows me the overall size. And let's go up here. Let's do 4 feet. Enter. All right, so now I can fill that in with a rectangle. Grab my corner. Now I'm just going to push and pull the center of that door away. Something like that. Right now I'm just kind of showing you the basics of how the different tools work. That's the main focus right now. All right, so if those guidelines get in your way, you can just click and drag. Notice I selected this turned blue. Okay, I don't want to delete when that's blue, so I want to just make sure the lines are selected. So if I zoom out and just drag up here, notice how just the lines are selected there, and then hit delete on my keyboard, that'll get rid of them. But if I have this selected and delete, you're going to see that just took away my wall. So if that happens, just do Control Z on my keyboard, or just press the back button, and then you're good to go. All right, so at that point, I have my nice basic shape. When you have your shape drawn, I like to get in the habit of selecting it. Notice how I click and dragged over, or you can triple click, 1, 2, 3. It'll select everything. I'm going to make that all a group. What that does is it prevents anything else from sticking to your design. And I'm going to show you what I mean there. All right, so let's just say I'm going to draw some steps here. Let's use my tape measure. Drag up, I don't know, 6 inches. So I'm going to do inches. Notice I can either do the quotes or just leave it as 6. It'll put up that 6 inches there. And I'm just going to freehand this just to save some time. I'm going to go to the eraser tool to get rid of this. Oops. Can't do that. Push and pull out. Let's come out 2 feet. 2 feet. Like that. So notice what happened there. Since I had this all grouped, this did not stick to it. So if I triple click, I can make this a separate group. Right click, make it a group. And now I am free to move that wherever I want. Okay? Makes it really nice to be able to navigate. And as you do more complicated drawings and you have a bunch of different parts, if you ever want to go back and modify something, you need to have it as groups. Okay, so let me quickly show you what I mean and show you if you don't have it in groups. I'm just going to do a quick cube here. And I'm going to draw my rectangle like I just did. And I'm going to push and pull it out. Okay, so it kind of looks the same concept, but here's the difference. If I try to just select the I don't know, sidewalk or the front porch, notice how it tries to take everything with it. Okay, if I try to move just this, we really start getting things screwed up. You can see how it's kind of like not liking it. Okay, if I try to move this guy, there's no way to select it. So I would have to kind of, if I wanted to make a change to this, I got to delete everything to be able to get them separated. Okay, so take my word for it. As you do different parts, make sure you group them separately. Okay, we're going to stop there for the first tutorial. We'll pick up with adding a few more details in the next video.